Two top stories. Number one, Johnny Gargano back in WWE, the worst kept secret. It was more a matter of when than if. He came back on Monday's Raw out of completely nowhere, but he came back with Rebel Heart, feuding with Theory. I thought everything about this return was perfect, and I like the fact it wasn't spoiled in advance. They didn't announce it. It wasn't even hinted at by the dirt sheets. It just kind of came out of nowhere and got a great reaction in front of a crowd that was, familiar with him and happy to see him. So I thought everything about this return from Gargano was really, really well done.
Oh, this was great. I mean, like you said, no spoils, nothing. Him coming out to Rebel Heart. I mean, once I heard the music, I was like, what the fuck?
I know, we all were.
I didn't know who it was, obviously. Molly was like, who's this vanilla midget? And I'm like, hey, watch your mouth. But, no, I went off. I mean, I knew once he came out and it was going to, just the way that, like we've said before, it's always like the debuts are cool, but, like, putting them in a direction, like, that's where they need to go. And, like, everyone that Triple H has brought back has seemingly been put in a feud or in a new direction that we know where they're going. So once Gargano came out and we hadn't seen Theory all night, I'm like, oh, easily Theory's going to come out here. He's going to big dog him like he did, and then that's the feud we're going to get. And it was great. And it was a great debut or re-debut or whatever, the return, whatever you want to call it. Just like I said, just because it wasn't spoiled at all either, which was great. And it's not like they did it like the 9 o'clock hour on the 10 o'clock hour, it's like, or 8, even when the show kicks off, like, like, there was like the 3 spotlights that normally in a television format you usually get big returns, but like, I think it was like 10:20, 10:30, like, just randomly out of the commercial. It was amazing. Yeah,
it came completely out of nowhere. It gives the show more of a must-see feel, and with Triple H and Shawn running things now, it kind of, it makes things now not only just more must-see, but they have that synergy between the main roster and NXT where they can incorporate things from NXT, acknowledge their history, and not completely, move on from it. And Gargano came out, the same music, same name, same everything the same, so we don't have to, like, oh, it's someone completely different that we've never seen before in Butch. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, it just insults our intelligence. They're not doing that anymore. I appreciate that. And then the Theory feud is perfect, the perfect first feud for Gargano. To me, it doesn't really matter who goes over. I would have Gargano win because their mindset with Theory anyways, oh, he's got the briefcase, he can lose, it's fine, but okay, whatever. But, still, I think the matches are going to be great. It keeps Theory busy because I was wondering last week why they blew up the Ziggler thing so quickly. They hadn't had a match before last week. They announced it out of nowhere. Theory went clean. That was weird. And now we know why. This probably would have happened a couple of weeks ago if Theory was on the show, but he wasn't because he had a death in the family, so... they wanted to blow up the Ziggler thing, go into this the following week. Makes perfect sense to me, and I thought it was perfectly done, so I'm looking forward to that match when we get it. What were your thoughts on Edge and Damian Priest in the main event, and the post-match angle with Beth Phoenix saving Edge from Judgment Day? Maybe setting up either a mixed tag for Clash of the Castle, or just her in Edge's corner against Finn Balor at the pay-per-view and Rhea Ripley in his.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I thought they built it up well. I mean, seemingly Triple H has also realized when you go to big cities that you can just bring back old veterans and the crowd will go fucking bananas. I mean,
Kurt Angle next week.
Big fan of Trish. Loved her coming back. We got the one more match tease in there. I mean, she threw it out there. She's been going on the dirt sheet saying she wants a heel run. I mean, I'm all for it. I love Trish. But that was great for a nice crowd pop. Edge coming out, the Toronto kid. That was amazing. I thought him and Priest, like, they built it up for a couple of weeks. It wasn't like they just announced it. Like, this was a challenge made a couple of weeks ago by Priest. And then here we go in Toronto, main event. It was a good match. Beth saving him from Rhea. Great stuff. I would just do a mixed tag with them two versus Rhea and Finn at Clash of the Castle. I mean, Rhea, I feel like now it's more blatant more than ever that Rhea is basically the leader of Judgment Day, which, I mean, she should be. I feel like she is the star in the group, and I think they've done well with her. I mean, she's come off as a badass. She kind of needs her comeuppance. I probably wouldn't have Beth beat her up. I would have Rhea beat the shit out of her and just keep her strong, but yeah, I mean, she's kicking the shit out of the guys. Might as well just beat the hell out of Beth, too. I mean, she's just a badass right now, and she's the leader of the group, and I would just keep it going at this point.
I agree. I would do the exact same thing. And Judgment Day needs some heat anyway. They really never win whenever it matters most. They lost at SummerSlam. Damian Priest lost to Edge. They need a win. I would probably have them win there. Edge's team can lose, and it would be okay. Maybe they can build the Edge and Balor at either Extreme Rules or on TV, but I would do the exact same thing. One final thing I forgot. Dexter Lumis kidnapping The Miz and then reuniting with Indy Hartwell on NXT. I know you've never been the biggest Dexter Lumis fan, but I think this was great. I want Dexter Lumis back as a heel, but, this was interesting. I think The Miz is the perfect person for this sort of program, and the Indy Hartwell reunion, if you caught it on NXT, and the subsequent getting arrested by the cops whole angle, I thought was great. So curious on what your take on that whole thing was.
No, I thought it was good. Like, they did, they first thought it was going to steal AJ, and it was just a fan, or like a planted fan, and then you had Dexter take The Miz, which was great. And then, like you said, the whole index stuff, I fucking died laughing. That's good shit. I just, like you said, even with last week when she was backstage and she got, like, the secret admirer letter from Dexter, and then Blair Davenport ripped it up, like, that was 1 week, and then next week he actually appears, they reconnect, and then he finally gets arrested for kidnapping people. So, I mean, I thought it was good stuff. Like I said, he's going to be against The Miz. All the people they brought in now have a direction, and even with the guys from NXT UK, they brought in Charlie Dempsey's fucking up Chase University, which is great.
Yep.
You have Gallus there. You have Blair Davenport going to be in the title match. I mean, they're doing it. I mean, it shows when people know what they're doing. You can call people up, and if you put them right in something that means something, or at least on TV, it works every time.
Yeah, NXT on Tuesday was all about introducing and establishing those NXT UK talents that now that NXT UK is no more, NXT Europe is coming next year, obviously, and I spoke a lot about that last week. But, it was a mixed bag of a show because it's hard to introduce so many people at one time to people that aren't familiar and not watching NXT UK, which has been the vast minority for a while. If no one really watches NXT, or, people do, a couple 100,000, far less than that are watching NXT UK, I can promise you.